kids, I'm Albert Einstein. People call me the great scientist. Well, I just love to think about how everything works. And I came up with many theories in my lifetime. I'll share my story with you today. Let's go! This is my favorite thing, the blackboard, where I wrote many equations and came up with many discoveries. Now let's travel to Germany to my childhood days. This is my family, my dad Hermann and my mother Pauline, and that's me and my sister Maya. I was born in Ulm, Germany on March 14, 1879 and named Albert Einstein. I had a big head when I was born, and I didn't speak till I was around 4 years because I took time to speak full sentences rather than words. That is me as a child. I was a very quiet and a shy kid. I was also very curious. I used to love to read and learn about the world around me. I also loved building big structures with blocks and playing by myself. I also loved building houses of cards. Once I built a 14-story high structure with deck of cards. It took me a lot of patience and concentration. When I was 5 years old, my dad gifted me a compass. That sparked my curiosity a lot. I was so amazed at how the needle of the compass always pointed to the north, even when I kept moving in different directions. I thought there must be some force that controlled the needle and the compass. I then started school at Munich, Germany, and schools there were very strict. We were taught on what to think and how to think, and nobody dared ask any questions, because I was punished for asking a lot of questions. But I felt the most important thing is not to stop questioning, because curiosity has its own reason for existing. So I didn't like school very much, as I was always bullied, because I loved to learn more rather than play outside with the boys, and I was also bullied because I was Jewish. Also, the teachers didn't like me very much. Once a teacher told me that I will never amount to anything and will never get anywhere in life. I didn't let that upset me. I just kept focusing on learning. So I borrowed a lot of books and taught myself at home. I loved maths and science the most. And as I grew older, I loved the subject physics, which is the science of energy, matter, and movement. This was when I met Max Talmud, a medical student, who became a great mentor to me. As in our Jewish custom, families invite religious scholars for Sabbath, and that is how I know him. He introduced me to many books and I mastered its content very quickly. That's how I got to know advanced maths like geometry and calculus very easily. And at one point he said he can't keep up with me as I'm a very smart kid. I also had a great love for music, but did you know that when I took violin lessons at 6, I threw a temper tantrum during my lessons and didn't like music? But when I was 13, I became a fan of Mozart sonatas, and I even named my violin Lena. I often said if I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. My parents then moved to Milan, Italy, and I also dropped out of school to join them. I then applied at Zurich School, but I failed in the entrance exam. I tried harder and eventually got in, and I loved the school over there. They let the students ask questions and think of new ideas. I always felt imagination is more important than knowledge. Since knowledge is limited, but imagination is embracing all there is in the world to ever know and understand. 2 years after graduation, I got a job at the Swiss Federal Patent Office in Bern, Switzerland. My job was to study inventions that have come for patent. A patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention. I used to love working here because I could do my work quickly and think of my own ideas and publish more papers. During this time, I got married to Mileva Marik in the year 1903, and we had a daughter and 2 sons together. These were the 3 scientists who greatly inspired me. Some of their works have directly inspired me to come up with new theories. So here are my science heroes: Isaac Newton, Michael Faraday, and James Clerk Maxwell. The year 1905 was called my miracle year as I published 4 research papers on that year. My first paper was on photoelectric effect, where I said that the light is composed of energy and particles. My second paper was on Brownian motion, where I mathematically confirmed that matter is composed of atoms and molecules.
My third and most groundbreaking paper was on special relativity, meaning that except for the speed of light, everything is relative, including time, distance, and mass. A simple example is when you're standing outside and waving to someone who's traveling by car, it feels like the person inside the car and the car is moving at the same speed. Whereas when you're sitting inside the car, you feel like you're not moving, whereas the trees outside seem to be moving along with you. And my fourth paper was on the famous equation in history, E is equals to mc square, where I mathematically proved that energy equals to mass times the speed of light square. After this, people and scientists around the world started noticing my works and invited me to speak at events. At this time, I became so popular and famous that people wanted to take photos of me, gave me a lot of money for my works, and interviewed me. I once quoted in an interview, "I have no special talents, I'm just passionately curious." However, my ideas were more important to me than fame and money, and I was also quite absent-minded because I was always focused on my thoughts. And I never liked grooming. That's how I became the crazy hair icon. And I never wore socks. Mainly because my big toe made holes in the socks. And I got away without wearing socks at major events and speeches and even at the White House. After being separated from Mileva, in the year 1914, I moved to Berlin, where I was appointed to the Prussian Academy of Sciences to do research. I then met Elsa in 1919 and got married to her. Later in the year 1922, I received the Nobel Prize for my service in physics and the photoelectric effect. At this time, after the World War I, the Nazis took control over Germany, and the Jewish people were treated very unfairly, so I spoke up against them, and they started blaming me as a spy. I then moved to US in 1933 and took a position at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey. I also formed the International Relief Association with many prominent American figures to help and move the fleeing refugees from Germany. At this time in 1939, I wrote a letter to President Roosevelt about my idea that if an atom is broken, it would cause an explosion, called a nuclear explosion. Due to the war, I requested US to build on my idea and be prepared. However, it got used against Japan and caused a major destruction. I felt very bad for sharing my idea and regretted my action, that I became a speaker against the use of nuclear energy. On April 18, 1955, I passed away. Till my last day, my love for thinking and learning didn't die. I also have a memorial built for me outside the National Academy of Sciences building in Washington, D.C. In December 1999, Times Magazine declared me as the person of the century, and the United Nations declared the year 2005 as an International Year of Physics to celebrate the 100th anniversary of my great discoveries. In 1916, I predicted that gravity waves exist. 100 years later, in 2016, scientists confirmed my predictions. So till today, everyone follows my works and I've inspired many people. So kids, try and follow my principles in life. Focus on what you love and don't let others' thoughts upset you. When someone says you can't do something, never give up but keep trying until you succeed. Be curious and always ask questions to understand things better. Imagination is more important than knowledge, and try your best to always help those in need. Well, that's my story for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like our videos, please like, share, and subscribe to Kids Light Up. Bye-bye!